All right, a lot of people have told me to watch this video with Overwatch 2 director, aka Aaron Keller, revealing how they're embracing transparency. An interview done at BlizzCon 2023. This is a video from IGN. We'll link it in the description. Chat is on screen because I'm watching this live on Twitch. Let's see what Mr. Aaron Keller has to say.
What's up, everyone? This is Matt Kim at IGN, and we're here at BlizzCon 2023, and we're sitting down with Overwatch 2 game director Aaron Keller. Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
How's your show so far?
It's amazing. We haven't run BlizzCon since 2019, so just
True.
seeing all the fans and the energy here is really exciting.
That's been really cool. So just jumping right into it, Overwatch 2's big announcement during the opening show was not only Manga, the new hero, but also the next two heroes, Venture and Codename Space Ranger.
Yeah, we really wanted to show players as much as we could of what's coming
The mic just changed. They used the shotgun mic and then they actually got his mic in.
next year. So Mauga is amazing, larger than life personality, but yet we showed Venture. We showed early gameplay footage of Venture in our What's Next panel, along with more concept art from Space Ranger. We also showed new game mode that we're releasing next year and a new map for it. Teased even another map that we had, showed a reworked competitive system we're working on, other game modes. It even talked a little bit about what's coming for Battle Pass changes.
Now that's, I mean, I have to say I was kind of stunned because that's a lot. Like normally the new hero is sort of the big announcement, but we got a lot of new information about this. Is this new for Overwatch 2 as a team?
It is new for Overwatch as a team. We want to be as transparent with our players as possible. We really want to show them all of this. And the reason why we want to do that is we want to rebuild trust, honestly, with our players, for one. And we'd also like to just give people that are really into our game, that played a lot, a chance to see what's coming and what they can look forward to people, they use games and they play games because they love those worlds, and they have this attachment to them. And we want to like validate that passion by like showing them the things that are going to be coming. They can like look at that and say like, oh, this game is in good hands. I want to be able to continue like putting time and my energy into it also.
Now, I don't think I'm...
Okay, for those who don't know, when he mentioned, the interviewer said the big announcement's supposed to be Mauga, but they also mentioned the Battle Pass change. For those who have not kept up, they're changing it next year, so whenever you finish a premium Battle Pass, you can unlock a mythic skin of any previous season already released. So it's good for people who don't buy it every season, or who missed a season because they couldn't complete it, or they weren't around in season 1. They can finally get the Cyber Genji. So that's what he meant. That's a big news drop, and especially with like their business model and monetization, right? It does incentivize people to hopefully continue buying the battle pass, even if it's like a battle pass for a skin you don't like, but there's probably some you missed. So that's a good change. And then Aaron saying how rebuilding trust is important. I agree. You have to. Like he's obviously like restricted from like shit talking Blizzard, like the company as a whole, Activision Blizzard, but he knows they've let the player base down. Especially with all like the loss of trust with PvE and everything. So like you need to have goodwill, good PR, and be transparent as possible with everything coming out, and be authentic. And I think that's the best solution going forward. You can't turn back time, but you can be authentic. And if you stick true to what you say, then rebuilding trust is possible.
Out of pocket to say that in the games industry, typically announcements focus on a single big thing, right? And roadmaps are a little bit new, I think, but they've been a little bit more common in live service games like one that you're working on yourself. Is this something that you've noticed just works better with a live service game like Overwatch 2?
Yeah, I think that there's a few different aspects to this. So it's great to have big marketing beats and these moments where players kind of see new things come into the game. But I think every game out there it's a little bit different from each other. Even every game and every team in Blizzard is a little bit different from each other. We've had moments in the past with Overwatch where we didn't talk to players as much as we do right now, and we really
silence,
kind of
radio
like
silence
away. Even as early as last year, there's an example. Before we shipped Overwatch 2, we made an announcement that we were putting heroes in our battle pass, and there was a big reaction from our community around that. And at the time, we thought it was best to just be radio silent there, because anything we said, the players would just kind of twist it into something. And we've kind of come 180 from that. Like, what we want to do is to be in constant communication with our players and to let them know what is coming, even if it's something that might be taken negatively. We would like to get out in front of it and just be honest with those players. We have a new executive producer on the project. His name's Jared Noyce. And
it's a
really, really important value to him for us to be transparent with our players. And over the course of this last year, we've put out more information on our game than we ever have. We have a bi-weekly director's
Jared Noyce
blog piece where I speak to the community about my thoughts on the game, and we put out different blog pieces as well. And then we have moments like this at BlizzCon where we want to show people like really what we're doing. So what we're hoping is that our players see that, like, yeah, we do want to have this conversation back and forth with the community, and we are committed to to putting the game out and like what we are working on with the game out in front of them.
And what is the
So this is the first time I think Overwatch has ever announced these many things in advance. Have we ever had a moment in Overwatch history where we literally announced 2 of the 3 of the heroes ahead of time? Literally nobody knows what the next hero is until like a week or 2 before. It's like, why is there a new hero next season? We've heard nothing. No news, no communication. And it's always a trickle up. They try to like build hype, but I think they've noticed that like people are more frustrated with like, there's no marketing for this new hero, this new season, what's happening? And now at BlizzCon, boom, they unloaded Mauga, and then finally they're like, let's just show you the concept art and already gameplay of Venture, concept art of the Space Ranger, and a little doodle of the final hero at the end of 2024. That is very far in advance. Now, some people can argue that you lose the marketing like surprise, because there is an aspect of marketing where you kind of like, you know, unload everything at once, and it's like, whoa, hype. And then if you tease or let people know things ahead of time, there's no hype or suspense built up for it. So there's less hype or suspense for Venture, because we already know that's what's coming out in 4 months. But I would argue against that. I actually think I like knowing ahead of time, and I don't know if you guys do too. I think it's a nice surprise when, like, you know, all of a sudden, like, oh, Lifeweaver, all these like cool things, it's all at once, but maybe I'm not around for those 2 weeks. But like right now, I already know from 5 months from now what hero's coming out. And I think transparency goes a long way, especially because they're trying to rebuild trust.
Effect of this new transparency policy been on the team?
I think we really like it. It's
Now, before he continues on, I do want to point out, in not even just game development, but I think in a lot of industries, the only issue with doing this is you don't want another PvE situation again, right? With Overwatch, this is specific to this, where you overpromised and then you couldn't deliver. So if you promise these heroes and this, you know, this change for the battle pass and the competitive stuff, and it doesn't come out in the time that you slotted it to, that's not going to look good. They did say Season 8 Mauga. I'm sure that's already done, so that's pretty much firm. They said Season 9, which is around February, for the new Competitive 3.0. If Competitive 3.0 rework gets delayed to Season 10, that's not going to sit well. So the thing about this communication is that they set themselves up for a timeline, and it looks kind of bad for a delay. Now, I'm always on the side of like, I'd rather them release a finished product, but like, don't promise a certain thing and then delays suck. Just like when Cyberpunk 2077 was like announced for this year, then it got delayed. Like, delays suck. So they've set the schedule up. You have to deliver. Like, if they don't, and you're talking about being transparent and rebuilding trust, if you can't deliver these timelines,
hard for a team.
There's no more faith.
Hold on.
I don't know how many times you can you know, grab Overwatch fans by the nuts and then just yoink it back.
It's hard to feel like that you're being inauthentic.
Roadhog rework delay. It was supposed to be for the mid-season patch, but this mid-season patch was kind of early. It's actually scheduled for next week, by the way, like November 14th or whatever. So, yeah.
with players. The Overwatch team is a team that's very passionate about the game. It's made up of people that play our game, and so they're also involved with the community. They feel very connected with the community, and anytime there is that moment where there's a little bit of a break and it feels like we're out of sync with them, or that there's something that the community is upset about, it has a really big effect on our morale. And so for us as a team to be able to actually put ourselves out in front of players like that has been really, really great.
I imagine, given you said yourself that this is a 180 from how it was previously, I imagine that's a little scary, but also very liberating.
Yeah, and it can be scary at times. We don't know always what players are going to think of what we want to show them, and we have had some moments where we've talked about things with the community about what the game is turning into that they might disagree with, right? We launched last October with Overwatch 2. It had a new competitive system in it, for example. And as seasons went by, the community became more and more critical of that competitive system. And it always can hurt, maybe hurt is the wrong word, but to hear the critical feedback isn't something that you always want, but it's so important for us.
It's necessary.
So we have been communicating with them back and forth, and it was just today where we unveiled a whole new rework of that system based off of a lot of their feedback. And so, yeah, it can be scary, but then I think it's great for the game.
It's necessary. Feedback is necessary.
To not have to be feeling like you can't be talking about these things. It is the more that a game team can be in line with their community, and that we're both kind of like moving towards the same goals, and that they can see that from the game team, the better it is.
Overwatch as a brand is, I believe, 7 years on.
Yeah, we launched in 2016,
right? In
May of 2016, so we're 7.5 years out.
That is a long time, and that is a community then that has grown up with the game effectively. And so, what other than this transparency, and you mentioned that you're sharing more than you ever have. Have you noticed immediately? It's only been a day that this has been received positively by the community.
There's been a lot of excitement over the things that we've announced at BlizzCon, and there's been a lot of people that have also been surprised at how much we've shown. But if you look
I was very surprised they went that deep.
The past year, I think you can start to see a story emerge of us being more transparent with our community, and us trying to be more upfront with the things that we're doing, and for us to communicate more. Sometimes it almost feels like we over-communicate with our community. And I know that we don't always put this much out in front of them, but there was a goal here, and the goal is to let people know that we are building the things that they want for this game. One of the things we said in the opening ceremonies is that Overwatch has never had such clarity of vision about the future, and the future of this game is to continue to build what people love in it. Like, Overwatch is, I think, one of the world's best competitive shooters.
Agreed.
And
not biased, by the way.
Our heroes move in the environment, the way that they rely on each other, and their abilities synergize with each other, and it produces this game where every hero feels powerful, but you have to rely on the rest of your team to be successful in a match. That's the heart and soul of what makes this game tick. And so we want people that play that game, that feel that, and feel kind of like that magic, to be able to look at what we're doing and say, like, yeah, that's what I want the Overwatch team to be doing. I want more heroes like that. I want the game that I play now to just keep getting better, and that is what we're focused on.
Humanity forward messaging for humanity style game.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is Overwatch, we've always put this message out there that we're a future worth fighting for. We want to be a game that represents people all around the world, and sometimes it feels like Overwatch, the vision for what Overwatch is, especially since I took over as game director, is trying to define what Overwatch isn't, almost more than what it is. And so when we
it's not PvE.
Overwatch,
since he became game director when Jeff left, I think now it's just
last October, That was different than the game that we talked about at BlizzCon in 2019. You know, that was just a PvP focused part of the game. It was no longer this big, all-encompassing thing that we talked about. And we even later shifted again and narrowed the scope of that game, and we kept pulling parts of it away. And we came back to something that is similar to the original, but with a clarity of what the game actually is. We do want to represent all these people, but at the end of the day, our game is very competitive. It's very fast-paced, and a lot of people would consider it like intense and hardcore, and we love that about it. And we want to be able to deliver that for players, and so we are focusing on that competitive side of the game to give people more of it. Yes, the whole universe to Overwatch is this very approachable thing, but the game that we're building is a little bit different from that, and I think we've recognized that now, and we are pushing in that direction as hard as we can.
He said it without saying it, but he's definitely saying that based on feedback and how everything's gone, PvP is the focus, not PvE. At least that's how I interpreted his answer.
Cool.
And they have the clarity now. Like, this is clear that we are a PvP game, and they have a clear direction on where to go.
You know, I want to congratulate you on such a successful show, and and in this spirit of transparency, and to dig a little bit more about this clarity of vision, do you have anything you'd like to share with our audience?
Yeah, I'd love to. I could talk about this stuff all day, but when you look back, or when I look back at the history of Overwatch and some of the announcements we've made in order to be more transparent, the most recent one we did was when we talked to our players about no longer working on hero mode. And when you look at our announcement at our last BlizzCon in 2019 of what Overwatch 2 was supposed to be, that was a big component of it. And so we went out in front of players and told them, like, hey, we want to deliver this to you. And then there was a moment just earlier this year where we talked about no longer delivering that. And a lot of players, I think probably justifiably, felt like that was a broken promise.
True.
And we knew
that's why you need to rebuild the trust.
That people obviously weren't going to be happy about that.
Of course.
We didn't necessarily have to put it in front of players like that. And we knew there was going to be hopefully just a short-term hit because of it, a short-term hit for like player positivity and morale. But we chose to do that anyways because we want to be honest with our players. We want to get in front of them that way. And if we could rewind the clock and have the choice to do that again, even knowing the consequences of it. I had the singular distinction for a while of being the game director of the worst reviewed game on Steam for a while. I would still go back and make the decision to be honest with our players. I want them to know what it is that we're making. And I think that's going to be, it's been our guiding light for the past year, and it's going to be our guiding light for the future of Overwatch.
But he's saying, well, he was holding the title of the game director of the worst reviewed game on Steam, but he'd do it all over again. As in, like, when he says do it all over again, I was half listening to his answer because I saw what you guys were typing in chat, but he was saying he would do it again, as in, like, be honest and tell people the PvE isn't coming, right? He'd do it again. Okay, I don't need to re-listen to it. Yeah, that's basically what he said. Okay. He'd do it all over again. He'd do what's right, which is be transparent and say the PvE isn't coming. Well, they had to deliver that news eventually, or else they'd just be radio silent forever. I mean, the news had to drop one day. I mean, yeah, you don't get a cookie for being honest about breaking a promise. And he acknowledged that, like, they can't turn back the clock, and they have a clear direction now, and their goal now is to rebuild trust. So step one at BlizzCon was the first time they've ever, again, revealed all this information, changing the battle pass upon feedback, showing off a couple of the new things that are coming 6 months ahead, years ahead. That is very, very far down the line. Like, at least this is like a short-term reasonable goal. Everything that they say planned for 2024 makes sense. I'm sure in game development, when things are being developed, they could be going like years in advance. But if you're just 1 year away, you should be ahead enough that like you can deliver it within that time frame. The 2019 PvE Overwatch 2 announcement was, for some reason, announced in 2019 really early, but like I think even in 2019 they said they weren't going to be able to deliver that in 2020. Before all the Blizzard allegations and before even COVID, they announced in 2019 saying this is coming, but like in a couple of years. So I actually think there's a fine line between being transparent and being like overly ambitious. And I think they're not overly ambitious because this is just what's next year. In game dev, you can only reveal something when it's half-baked, which leads me to think in 2019, was that version of PvE and skill trees already halfway done before the announcement? I don't know. To say that Kotick didn't have any contribution to like the issues that the Overwatch team ran into would be false. He definitely did affect it. And now he's leaving next year with the acquisition of Microsoft, different leadership, and Aaron at the helm. I think we're in good hands. I think we really are. And as Winter would say right here in chat, I think things are going to get a lot better. He put a smiley face. Also, Winter in chat, one of the newer Team 4 members joining in the recent years, joining the team to rebuild the pieces and pick up where the team left off to rebuild the trust. Winter was the one on the interview who has been diligently working on the 3.0, which I was super excited to see about. Thank you for listening to like player feedback and, you know, having that nice middle ground where I like the old system. I actually didn't mind this competitive card system, but I think the mix between the two is nice. But I do want to say, Winter, honest feedback. Do we still have time to change the name Ultimate? Can we please not have the rank above Grandmaster called Ultimate? I don't know who voted for that. Maybe it was you. If it was you, I'm side-eyeing you. But for the love of God, I don't know anybody here who likes the rank Ultimate. It just sounds weird. I'm Ultimate 3, Ultimate 2. Yes, there's a new rank coming out called Ultimate above GM. I know you probably can't answer anything. We do have time to change the name Ultimate. We have other ideas. We're saved. If you guys remember when Valorant came out during the beta, the highest rank was called Valorant. I'm pretty sure it went Immortal and then Valorant. People were like, ew, this name is cheesy. And then they actually changed it to Radiant. So there's a chance it's not called Ultimate. Please. Okay, that's all I have to say. That's it for the article. Bye, chat.